Ranking all the Rites of War for Horus Heresy 2.0, Part 2 of Part 8, it's still the Armoured Spearhead. My name is Mechanid, let's get started. For the full effects and downsides, see Part 1, because now we're on to the upsides. Getting to spam tanks is great, and opening both the troops and elite slots up to Predator Squadrons and Sicarans respectively is also great. This lets you fill out the heavy support slots with other tanks like Vindicators or even heavy weapon squads in transports. I'd recommend Scorpius missile tanks, as these artillery pieces lets you attack things like last cannon squads with out of line of sight shooting, which your tanks would otherwise have to come into the open to deal with. While this list does restrict you on infantry, forcing them to start the game inside transports, that's it for non-unique units. You can always just take a dreadnought or two to help support your tanks and act as a breakwater to stop the bad guys from getting in close to your armor. With the exception of not allowing Primarchs, this list is still quite flexible on what you are allowed to bring. Next up, the Master of Armor is a solid if uninspiring warlord trait, which you are forced to take to run this Rite of War. Getting +1 ballistic skill and a 5-up invulnerable save can make for a really solid base for any hard-hitting tank, because your warlord has to be in either a Predator tank or a Legion Sicaran, and you can't take any of the cooler Sicaran variants. I'd recommend a Predator tank with a conversion beamer for a back rank sniper. Speaking of tanks, Predators with a Magna Melter cannon can punch way above their weight, and because of their speed, they can zip up the flanks and pose a threat to larger tanks and can instant death things like Terminators. Sicarans are good, but the base Legion Sicaran gets overshadowed very quickly by the Punisher and the Arcus. Personally, I would leave my elite slots free for things like Terminators or other elite infantry in Land Raiders or Spartans, and use those transports as mainline battle tanks. Now, this list can be a rather expensive one to build, and with so many tanks, it can be hard to put them all together into other lists, especially if you use a lot of Rhinos or Predators. While this list does scale well into larger points games, it can be tricky to start out with, especially in smaller points games. Also, when it comes to building, I'd recommend investing in an airbrush or anything to help speed up painting, as you'll have a lot of armor panels to cover. For the flavor and the alternative playstyle, I'm putting the Armoured Spearhead in a solid B tier. Not the best overall, but far from the worst. And I would argue a very honest list that does what it says on the tin, and with the overall lower power of vehicles in 2.0, it's certainly more challenging to play than other lists. So watch out for a tank commander and their Armoured Spearhead. You may just be in for the fight of your life against a very skilled opponent. Which Rite of War should we look at next? Stay tuned for more. My name is Mechanid, thanks for watching.